Hello, myself Rugvi Gamre. Today I'm going to speak about the history of philosophy in related to the Plato. So, as we know, the Plato is one of the sophists and one of the great philosophers, and he said one thing which is like everything is true or it has a essence, but and your job is to find that. So, related to this, we have the five subtopics related to Plato's philosophy, and the first one is his epistemology. The second is the theory of the forms. The third is the gods and the cosmos. The fourth is understanding a human soul, and the fifth is the good life. So I'll be taking these topics wise by wise and explaining them in detail. So, in his epistemology, Plato thought that we knew already the things and we can make new ideas through it and we can learn new ideas. And this is because that we already know the forms of those things. And according to Plato, I'm reminding you what you already know, and what you already know is about the love, the abstract ideas, like beauty and the goodness. He also said that ideas could be known through your own best experiences, and to the direct we can talk about the direct experience about them, and also which had an intuitive leap in all the scenario, and which happened at the same time, and we can say that about the soul, that it was immortal. It was immortal about his knowledge, and then it went through the forgetfulness of himself. So from this epistemology, the Plato, he developed a theory which is the theory of knowledge, which was followed by his followers later on, and he stated that the Platonic theory is actually a innate thing. It's actually an inborn thing, and the learning is also development of the ideas which are deep buried in one's soul, as it's innate, so it's from the beginning and it's buried in his soul. And so the next thing is about the Plato's theory of forms. So the Plato theory of forms is actually divided into three. I will talk about this in a minute. But first thing is a simple definition or simple thing we can conclude by this theory, or which the Plato stated, is like the theory about the physical world. The physical world is not as real or as true as timeless, absolute, or we can say unchangeable ideas. It's not related to all these three objects. And later on, the theory is actually a form of a cave, or we can say a good is actually divided into the 3 points: the truth, the beauty, and the justice. So the Plato stated that the physical thing is equal to the cosmos in his topic about the God and the cosmos. So he stated that physical world is actually equal to the cosmos. So the world is becoming everything in this world comes and passes by, but never really is. And it is grasped from an opinion by a sense of perception. And the world has been everything, as I said, and it's always is. And that the supreme god of Plato's cosmos should wear a mask and of a manual worker. And there are certain elements about this thing which is about the cosmos. The main things about the cosmos is, the first one is a living being, the second one that it's unique, the third one that it has a soul, the fourth is the spherical, and the fifth is the temporal. In the theory of cosmos, there is one more thing added, which is the human beings, souls, bodies, and their parts. And moving forward to this, there are four kinds of living creatures. The first is the heavenly gods, the second is the winged things, third is water creatures, and the fourth is the land creatures. And this is all clubbed into a one human soul subject. So now I'll talk about the Plato on understanding the human soul. So the human soul has three parts and three types of souls. So the three types of souls are the intellectual soul, the will soul, and the desire soul. So the intellectual soul means those who have virtue only with the wisdom, and the most important virtue about intellectual soul is that they should rule over the other parts of the soul. So we can say this is as a prior thing on the topic of the soul, the intellectual soul. And the will soul is the soul whose virtue is the virtue is as a courage, which is the second most important virtue. And the third is the desire soul, whose virtue is moderation, and this is as a third important part of a soul. The Plato stated that the bodies die, but the soul is continually reborn. And there are three parts of the soul, and the three parts are: the first is the appetite, second is the spirit, and the third is the reason. Last topic is about the Plato, considering it the good life. So, according to Plato, a good life is something where morally a good person enjoys a sort of the inner harmony, whereas the wicked person, no matter how much he has money or how rich he is or how powerful his soul may be, he is very disharmonious, and also about himself or about the world. And he believed that the happy person is who has principles and sticks to them, and this is what makes a good life.
Hello sir, my name is Aniket Badal Singh Rajput. I am from second group, subgroup first. As my friend Rugvi explained the topic of Platonology, epistemology, and doctrine of collection, I would like to increase some important points in the section. So my points here, the divided lines. Now at that time, in Plato's Republications, books 7th edition, the divided lines has two parts: the representative, the eligibility words, and the smaller visible words. Each of those parts is divided. The segment within the intelligible words represent higher and lower form of the segment. Within the visible words represent ordinary visible object and their shadows, reflections, and other representation. The line segment are unequal, and their length represent their compare. And in the same, the definitions given by the Plato's, that their comparative clearness and obscurity, and their comparatively reality and truth, as well as whether we have knowledge or instead were options of the object. So this is the tough language that is used by the Plato. I would like to explain in the simple way. Plato explains some themes that when we start to recognize, when we start to learn anything, any object, we just learn from their appearance and the point section that we see from our eyes. We can't see by the shadows, reflection that he has. Means if we meet some person, he also has some bad effect or good effect in our personal life, in our mind, mentality, and in our psychological science. So there is some points behind the section. When we tries to understand anything, we would like to taking the knowledge from all the section, all the sides, that it has some positive point, it has some negative point, it may be helpful for us, it may be harmful for us. If it tries to introduce, if it tries to have it for the section, it will gives you some pain, some powerful, and etc. Each and everything are depend on ourselves, in which way we taken these things. Next, he explained the point allegory of the cave. Allegory of the cave, it is a point, and another is a metaphor of the sun. Metaphor of the sun in the Republic 507b to 90c BC, Plato Carteret used the sun as a metaphor for the sources of intellectual illuminations. As we know, the sun is a power of energy and house for all our galaxies. He distributes his energy to our planets. We survive because of sun. We make our food with the use of plants. So here, like the sun, in the section of study, knowledge, it's a metaphor for the sun. It spread its rays throughout the syllabus, its content, and his bright our future by our mind. Next things he explained, which he held to be the form of good. The metaphor is about the natures of ultimate reality and how we became to know. It starts with eyes, which Socrates says is unusual among the sense organ. in that it needs a medium, namely lights, in order to operate. The strongest and the best source of the light is the sun. Within it we can discern object clearly, unanalogously for intelligence objects. From the form of good is necessary in order to understand any particular thing. Thus, if we attempt to understand why things are as they are, and what general category can be used to understand various particular around us, without reference to any form universal, we will fail completely. By contrast, he also used normal form of definition here, metaphor of the suns. He likes to explain in the difficult world. He says that the dominance where the truth and reality shines resplendently is none other than Plato's word of the form. Illumination is the highest of the form of that God. He explained normal things with the illumination, and with the power of brightness and the future of the golden heart. If we take some important thing, that it will shine, it will be bright. It is a form of truthfulness. If anything is pure and truth, it has the power to recognize and to bright in our own sense. It also includes some important sections. There is idea are reals, more real than things. Ultimate reality is non-physical, the physical material world in the more appearance. And the next is the wisdom being when one realize the world is merely apparent and realistic in non-physical. If all things are expressed of the same form emanate from the goods, then we are experience of the goods. The trauma of birth causes us to forget our relationship with the goods or God, pure reason and logic. The tools of idea allow access to the goods. To good the cells is to all the goods. Knowledge is recollections. There are points here. The Plato explain in which way we have to conduct our life, in the good sense or in the bad sense. He compromise the good things as compared to the God. He explains us the points where we tries to understand each and everything. What should we do? What should we better? What should we become good in our life? Every person has a hidden talent. He has to express, he has to recognize, and he has to ultimate and shine is in the bright future. So maybe I tries to explain it in my way. If I taking mistake here, so sorry for that. And next part, as conducted my friend Shishir, tell us in his own words. Thank you so much, sir.
I would like to just sum up epistemology is basically within just two lines and two words. It's basically it's like understanding. The upper part is understanding and the lower part is reasoning. Like epistemology is a construction of two basically main things. Like if you are having understanding for on a particular topic and you are having a knowledge on a particular subject, then you can explain each and everything for with a particular reason, and you are having a proper example for each and everything. And you know what, you will be evidentially like you can predict everything. Like you know what, an ordinary person, he can't just predict everything and he just can't see everything, but a thinker, he just feels the future. I would explain it with this chart. Like it's divided into metaphysics, epistemology over here, and then sensible world is over here, and then options over here. So basically, coming to the epistemology is divided into two part: understanding and reasoning, and this is considered as knowledge. Like knowledge is the sum up of the understanding and the reason, whereas the opinion is considered as imagination and perception. Like what you have imagined in front of you is your imagination, and what you perceived over it, it's totally your perception, and they both combinedly making an opinion. So while coming to this A, B and C part, like you are having a proper reason for your understanding and your knowledge, and then you will understand properly and make it understand. So I would like to sum up this with an example. I would give you an example on this. Like there are two persons, Nick and Jonas. Then and they both went to an company, and the owner says that the one who is having 10 cents in his pocket will get the job. So that Nick knows that the Jonas is having $10, 10 cents in his pocket. So this is the knowledge of Nick's, that he knows that Jonas is having the 10 cents in his pocket, but Jonas doesn't know that Nick is also having this much amount in his pocket, and Nick himself doesn't know about that he is having this amount of money in his pocket. So this is the basic thing. Like he is having knowledge that he is having it, but he is not having knowledge that he is having it. So this is the imagination and perception both at the same time. And Nick is having enough reason to conclude this, that yeah, Jonas will definitely get the job because he is having 10 cent in his pocket. But this Jonas is not having any proper reason to justify this, that yeah, he will also get this job, and he himself doesn't have any reason to make himself justify that yeah, he will get the job. So this is the main difference between the reason, the understanding, the knowledge, and the perception and imagination. Like this person is only having knowledge, okay, and rest all is an imagination. But you know what, when the owner comes out and he says that bro, Nick, you are getting the job, then he himself got shocked about this. Like he's not having the knowledge of this one, he won't even perceive about this. So this is the main difference. So this is basically epistemology, the study of knowledge. This is known as epistemology. Coming to the second example, the very famous example each and every philosopher gives on this theory: truth, belief, and justification. Like there are two persons, P and S, and if P is true, then S believes that P is true. But if P is false, like why would S believe that P is true? Okay, so if P was true, so S would believe that P is true. Okay, so I would explain this. Like there are two persons who believe in each other. Okay, like he believes in him and he believes in him. So if he is right, this person is right, then this will believe that yeah, you are right. And if this person is not right, now how would he believe that yeah, you are right? So this is just an example to explain this stuff. And I think I made myself proper clear to in front of you. Coming to the end of this video, I would like to sum up each and everything with the definition of epistemology. Epistemology is basically a true knowledge. Epistemology is basically true knowledge on having particular reasons of each and everything, rather should believing on illusions and experiences. Basically, epistemology is a science of reasons, of knowledge, not via senses, via experiences. Okay, so when we have some sense experiences, is known as illusion, is known as ikasia. Okay, and when these forms exist in the form of neoton, and in our world this is based on the senses, is known as heraton. And all the physical objects seen with the senses and dependent on the simply shadow of the form concepts. So in the end, it's like on summing up all is like asking the questions and having particular reasons for everything, like how the knowledge is obtained, how it can be created, how it can be transferred, and what are the limitations of knowing everything, what are the functions and features of getting everything with each other connected. And that's all from our side. Thank you very much.